You say you love them, but why does it hurt so much? Why do you feel anxious when they don't text back? Is this really love, or something else pretending to be? Have you ever loved someone so deeply that just seeing them smile felt like the world was blooming? And yet one day they walked away, and suddenly it felt like your whole heart fell into a bottomless pit. Why does that happen? Is it possible that even genuine love can bring us unbearable pain? Or maybe what we thought was love was actually something else, a quiet, desperate need to have someone stay. There's a quote that once made me pause for a long time. If you like a flower, you will pluck it. But if you love it, you will water it every day. Love, is it about nurturing? Or is it about possessing? Does it bring peace, or does it stir up constant fear of losing? In today's video, I want to take you on a journey, not into romance or butterflies in the stomach, but into the heart of what true love really means, through the lens of Buddhist wisdom. A kind of love that doesn't wound us, but instead helps us grow. So take a deep breath, and allow your heart to listen, softly, fully, because maybe, just maybe, what you've been searching for in love has been quietly waiting within you all along. When I was little, I remember seeing my mom sitting quietly in the corner of the kitchen, wiping away silent tears. At the time, my parents had been arguing over something small, at least small to me. But what stayed with me wasn't the argument. It was the way she still got up, made dinner, folded clothes, and smiled at us like nothing had happened. She never raised her voice. She never asked for anything in return. She just kept showing up, with quiet strength and unwavering care. Back then, I didn't understand it. But years later, when I began studying Buddhist teachings, it finally made sense. What I witnessed was true love. According to the Buddha, true love doesn't start with passion or desire. It begins with metta, loving kindness. It's not about needing someone to make us whole. It's about wishing for their happiness, whether or not we're part of it. True love says, I want you to be happy, even if that happiness doesn't include me. In Buddhism, real love is one of the four immeasurables. Metta, loving kindness. Karuna, compassion. Mudita, sympathetic joy. And upekkha, equanimity or peaceful detachment. It's not just a feeling. It's a way of being, something we practice daily with intention. Think about the people you've loved. The one you bent over backwards for, gave up sleep for, stayed up all night texting, only to feel devastated when they pulled away. Was that love? Or was it attachment disguised as love? One of the Buddha's simplest teachings stays with me. When love is free from craving, it becomes a blessing. But when love is tied to desire, it becomes suffering. True love doesn't come from emptiness. It comes from wholeness. And to tell the difference between love and attachment, we have to look inward and be brutally honest with ourselves. We'll explore one of the most common and painful traps we fall into in relationships. Attachment. The kind that feels like love, but leaves us hurt every time. A close friend of mine once told me something right after a breakup that I've never forgotten. She said, I don't even know if I'm heartbroken over losing him, or just heartbroken over losing the feeling of being needed. That one sentence hit me hard, because the truth is, a lot of us aren't grieving love itself. We're grieving the role that love played in filling the emptiness inside us. In Buddhist teachings, there's a clear distinction between love and attachment. But in real life, that line gets blurry. Attachment often looks like love. It feels intense, consuming, passionate. But at its core, it's fueled by fear, insecurity, and the craving to possess someone. Attachment says, I need you so I can feel whole. You have to stay. You have to make me happy. True love says, I want you to be free and happy, even if that means not with me. It's the difference between holding tightly and holding gently, between needing someone to stay and being grateful when they choose to. Imagine this. You're holding a small bird in your hands. If you squeeze it too tightly because you're afraid it'll fly away, you'll hurt it. But if you open your hands and let it rest freely, it might stay, or it might fly. Either way, no one gets hurt. Attachment is like gripping a rope too tightly. The more you cling, the more it burns your hands. Letting go isn't losing. It's finding peace and freedom for both you and the one you love. There's a Buddhist teaching that goes, attachment is the root of suffering. Letting go is not losing but gaining freedom. So if you've ever found yourself feeling anxious when someone doesn't text back, or frustrated when they don't meet your expectations, or broken when they walk away, ask yourself honestly, am I really loving them? Or am I holding on out of fear? We'll look at one of the most powerful mirrors we have for understanding love in its purest form. A kind of love that asks for nothing, yet gives everything. The motherly love analogy, why it's the purest form of love. I once had a high fever as a kid. I was tossing and turning in bed, soaked in sweat, barely able to keep my eyes open. And when I did open them, I saw my mom, sitting quietly beside me, half asleep, gently wiping my forehead with a warm cloth. She hadn't slept in nights. She never complained. She never asked for anything in return. All she cared about was that I got better. A mother's love is like that, quiet, constant, and unconditional. It doesn't ask to be noticed. It just is, like sunlight gently pouring through the window each morning. The Buddha once said, just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, we should cultivate that same boundless love toward all beings. A mother doesn't love you because you behave. She doesn't stop loving you when you throw tantrums, break things, or fail to meet her expectations. She loves because that's simply what she does. Compared to romantic love, which often comes with conditions, expectations, and emotional contracts, a mother's love is pure. There's no if, no when, no what's in it for me. Just, I love you. Have you ever seen a toddler throw a fit, scream, cry, hit their mom with tiny fists? And yet, their mom still pulls them close, still kisses their forehead, still says, it's okay, I'm here? That's not weakness. That's strength, the kind that only comes from deep-rooted love. In Buddhism, this is what metta looks like, loving kindness with no strings attached. And the Buddha taught that if we could learn to extend that same kind of love to everyone, the world would be a softer, more peaceful place. How beautiful would it be if we could love someone not because they deserve it, but simply because we've chosen to love, with gentleness, with patience, and with no need to be repaid? But in real life, not everyone loves like a mother. Sometimes our love gets tangled up in fear, in desire, in expectation. So how do we know if we're loving from a place of truth, or from a place of clinging? In the next part, we'll explore 5 quiet signs that what you're feeling might not be love, but attachment dressed in disguise. Signs you're attached, not in love. A friend of mine once said something after a breakup that really stayed with me. I'm not sure if I miss him, or if I just miss being loved. It's something a lot of us go through, that aching emptiness, the confusion between love and habit, between connection and dependency. The truth is, we often mistake attachment for love. And when we do, we end up building relationships on fear instead of freedom. Attachment wears love's clothing. It feels passionate, intense, magnetic. But underneath, it's driven by anxiety, control, and the fear of loss. Here are 5 signs you might be attached to someone, not truly loving them. 1. You constantly need reassurance. If they don't text back quickly, if they seem distant for even a moment, your mind spirals. You question your worth. You worry they're pulling away. This isn't love, it's insecurity searching for validation. 2. You're easily jealous, even over small things. A casual conversation with someone else suddenly feels threatening. You don't trust easily. You try to monitor, control, or quietly resent. Jealousy is human, yes. But when it dominates the relationship, it's a sign that you're not loving, you're gripping. 3. You want to change them. You fell for their potential, not who they are. You think, if only they'd be more like this. You're waiting for them to become someone you can finally be happy with. But real love doesn't need someone to be different. It sees clearly and still chooses to stay. 4. You lose yourself in the relationship. Your hobbies fade. Your friendships drift. You stop dreaming your own dreams because everything now revolves around them. This kind of love doesn't expand you, it slowly erases you. 5. Your emotional state depends on them. If they're happy, you're happy. If they pull away, your whole world collapses. They become your source of joy and pain. That isn't love. That's emotional dependence. In Buddhism, there's a gentle reminder. Love brings freedom. Attachment brings fear. Love allows both people to grow. Attachment clings out of fear they'll leave. If any of these signs feel familiar, don't blame yourself. We're all learning. The key is to recognize it and begin again with more awareness, more kindness toward yourself. So what does it actually look like to love someone well? In the next part, we'll explore the simple, powerful truth that love, real love, isn't about taking. It's about giving. There's a quote you've probably heard before, simple, almost too familiar, and yet every time I come across it, it hits a little deeper. If you like a flower, you will pluck it. But if you love a flower, you will water it every day. When I was a child, I once picked a beautiful rose from the garden to bring to my mom. I was proud of it, but just a few hours later, the petals began to wilt. My mom smiled gently and said, "If you'd left it on the stem and cared for it, you could have enjoyed it for days." From that day on, I stopped picking flowers and started learning how to care. Love works the same way. If you truly love someone, you don't try to own them. You nurture them. You help them grow. You want to see them shine, even if it's not always in your direction. True love gives. It listens. It shows up without needing anything in return. But attachment? It demands. It wants to receive more than it gives. It says, "I need you to fill me up." Imagine this. You're in a relationship where your partner always listens, supports you, and offers kindness, not because they expect the same back, but simply because they want to. They love without measuring, without keeping score. Now compare that to a relationship where one person constantly asks, "Why don't you do this for me? Why aren't you making me happy?" One nourishes, the other depletes. There's a beautiful teaching in Buddhism. True love has no expectations. It gives, and in giving, it is already fulfilled. When you love from a place of abundance, giving isn't exhausting, it's energizing. Because the act of loving itself becomes the reward. And the best part? When you love this way, you stop needing to be loved back in a specific way. You become love. But love like this doesn't just appear. It's cultivated. It's practiced. So how can we begin to love this way every day, in small, real human moments? That's what we'll explore next. 4 simple steps that can gently shift the way you love, not just others but yourself. A woman I deeply admire once told me, "Love is a skill. Not everyone is born knowing how to love, but anyone can learn." Back then, I didn't really believe her. But the more relationships I went through, some tender, some painful, the more I understood. Love isn't just a feeling. It's a practice. A muscle you build through patience, awareness, and choice. So if you've ever found yourself stuck in patterns of fear, jealousy, or constant need, you're not broken. You're human. And you can still learn how to love in a way that brings peace instead of pain. Here are 4 powerful ways to cultivate true love in everyday life, drawn from Buddhist wisdom and grounded in simple action. 1. Practice loving kindness meditation. Set aside a few quiet moments each day to repeat simple phrases in your heart. May I be well. May you be well. May all beings be well. It may feel small, but repeated with intention, this daily practice begins to soften your heart, making you less reactive, less possessive, and more open. 2. Listen without trying to fix. When someone you love is hurting, don't rush in with advice. Don't interrupt. Just be present. Hold space. People don't always need solutions. Sometimes they just need to feel heard, without judgment, without pressure. 3. Wish others well even when it hurts. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. In fact, one of the greatest acts of love is being able to say, "I still wish you peace even if you're not in my life." It's like releasing a balloon into the sky. You don't know where it'll land, but your hand is free and your heart is lighter. 4. Let go of expectations. Love doesn't come with a checklist. There's no rule book of how someone should behave to earn your love. Instead, ask yourself, what can I offer today from a place of wholeness? Not, what should they be doing to prove they care? This shift, from demanding love to being love, is the foundation of true connection. A friend of mine went through a painful divorce a few years ago. Instead of closing off, she committed to these practices. Every morning she meditated. She journaled kind thoughts for her ex. She smiled at strangers. She took walks alone, whispered blessings to the wind. And slowly the ache softened. She began to glow again, not because someone loved her, but because she had learned how to love herself first. There's a quiet teaching in Buddhism. Love is not a feeling to chase. It is a space you create. And once that space is alive in you, you don't chase love anymore. You become a place where love naturally lives. So what happens when you love like that, without holding, without gripping? In the next part, we'll explore something beautifully paradoxical. How letting go can actually bring you closer to love than ever before. Do you know who suffers most when you hold on to a rope that's burning your hands? You do. We hold on because we're scared. Scared of being alone. Scared that without them we're less whole. Scared that love, once gone, won't come back. But the truth is, sometimes the most loving thing we can do is let go. Not to abandon, not to give up, but to release the need to control what isn't ours to keep. In Buddhist teachings, true love is inseparable from freedom. Not freedom to run away at the first challenge, but freedom to be fully yourself within love. No masks, no pretending, no fear of being too much. Freedom means allowing your partner to grow, to change, to follow their path. And it means allowing yourself to do the same, even if that path eventually leads you apart. I once met a woman at a summer meditation retreat. She had loved someone for nearly a decade, but he wasn't ready to stay. She didn't beg. She didn't make him feel guilty. She simply said, "If your happiness is somewhere else, I won't be the one to keep you from it." People thought she was weak, but to me she was stronger than most, because it takes a brave, whole heart to love without needing to possess. Letting go isn't about losing. It's about making space for yourself to breathe again, to heal and to grow. There's a gentle teaching in Buddhism. Letting go is not the end. It's the beginning of freedom. And in that freedom, love doesn't vanish. It transforms. It softens. It stops being about holding on and starts being about honoring the journey, yours and theirs. So if you've been gripping tightly, hoping love will stay, maybe it's time to open your hands. Because real love doesn't need to be chained. It needs wings. And sometimes, if it's meant to be, it will fly right back to you, not because it has to, but because it wants to. In the next and final part, we'll pause. We'll reflect. And I'll invite you to ask yourself one quiet but powerful question. Am I really loving, or just holding on? Sometimes, the most heartbreaking realization isn't the end of a relationship. It's the quiet truth that all along, you weren't really loving. You were just holding on. Have you ever sat in silence, scrolling through old messages, wondering if you'd said something different, done something more? Maybe they would have stayed? Have you ever felt empty inside a relationship because you kept giving and giving, hoping that one day it would finally feel like enough? If so, you're not alone. We've all confused love with fear, love with need, love with the longing to be seen, to be chosen, to feel like we matter. But now, after walking through these stories, these teachings, maybe it's time to gently ask yourself, is the love I'm carrying making me feel more free or more afraid? Is the person I love growing within this love, or shrinking under the weight of my expectations? A friend of mine once said after a long silence, "I used to think I couldn't live without her, but now I see what I really needed was to find the parts of me I lost trying to keep her." He still remembers her, not with bitterness but with grace. He told me, loving doesn't always mean staying. Sometimes, it means letting go with gratitude and choosing to live fully anyway. There's a final teaching from the Buddha I want to leave you with. True love is born from understanding, and understanding begins with silence. So take a quiet moment for yourself, not to judge, not to blame, but to listen, to feel, to begin again if you need to. And if you're loving someone right now, may you love them gently with freedom. If you're learning to love yourself again, may you do so with the same patience you would offer a child. Because real love doesn't need to be perfect. It only needs to be honest, kind, and soft enough not to leave scars. If this video made you pause even for a moment, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share. I choose to love with freedom. Or tell your story. I read every word and I hold them with care. And if you know someone who's struggling with love, someone who's hurting or holding on too tightly, send this to them. Let it be your quiet way of saying, you're not alone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more conversations like this. Gentle reminders that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. Sometimes the deepest healing begins with the decision to love differently.